Hi friends, this is Professor Vinod D'Souza, Associate Professor, Department of Civil Engineering, AJ Institute of Engineering and Technology, Mangalore. So for today's class, we'll start with the module 5, that is called as Geosynthetics and Miscellaneous Methods. So in this module, we are learning a new concept in geotechnical engineering, that is called as geosynthetics. So we are learning about the definition of geosynthetics. What is geosynthetics? What are the applications of geosynthetics? What are the different types of geosynthetics available in market? And what are the properties of these geosynthetics and how they can be used in the field applications? So all these are learned in the first part of this module, and in the second part we will be learning the new methods which are adopted in the geotechnical engineering. That is nothing but soil reinforcement, different thermal methods. Then we will be studying about the soil nailing, then soil columns, rock reinforcement, etc. methods. So these methods we will be learning in the second part, that is called as miscellaneous methods. So in this class we will study about the topic called as geosynthetics. Geosynthetics, as geosynthetics are materials made from various types of polymers used with geological materials like soil, rock, etc. to enhance, improve, or modify the behavior of various civil engineering works. So geosynthetics is nothing but they are artificial fabrics, or they are the artificial materials made up of polymers which are used in conjunction with soil so that we can improve the different properties of the soil. The properties are nothing but strength, compressibility, permeability, separation. So all these properties can be improved. That is called as geosynthetics. So these geosynthetics are available in a wide range of forms and materials, each to suit a slightly different area. Various types of geosynthetic materials are available which are made up of polymer, polyester, etc. Geosynthetics are artificial fabrics, as I've told you. They are used in conjunction with soil or rock as an integral part of a man-made project. Man-made projects are nothing but maybe pavements, canal lining, or landfills. So all these in these all projects, we can use the geosynthetics as an integral part in the structure so that they can improve the various properties of the soil. So here these geosynthetics includes, one is planar structures and second is three-dimensional structures. Planar structures, the various types of planar structures are geomembranes, geotextiles, geosynthetics barriers, geonets, geogrids, geostrips, geospaces, and geomats. All these are called as planar structures. And there are some new materials are available. They are comes under three-dimensional structures, and they are geocells, geoforms, gabions, and concrete filled matrices. So this is a broad idea about the geosynthetics. So these geosynthetics, the major groups in geosynthetics are, one is geotextiles and second one is called as geomembranes. Geotextiles are products which are permeable one, and they can be used whenever we want to allow the water to pass through them, okay, like filtration process or separation. So all these cases we can use these geotextiles, and they will allow water to flow, whereas they will not allow the soil particles to flow in through them. That is called as geotextiles. And second types are called as geomembranes, which are the impermeable one, and they are used in case of canal liners or landfill liners, where the water should not go out of this canal, or the leachate which will be generated in the landfills, they should not go to the and join with the underground water. So in such cases these geomembranes are used. These products have a wide range of applications and are currently used in many geotechnical applications like hydraulics, transportations, and private development applications. For example, road construction, airfields, embankment construction, they are used, retaining structures, reservoirs, canals, dams, erosion control, sedimentation controls, landfill liners, land covers, mining, and agriculture. Now it has seen that we have seen that in almost all the fields of geotechnical engineering, the geosynthetics are used. For different structures, their purpose may vary, but we can use in almost all the structures. For example, we can use in the embankment constructions to protect the slopes. We can use them in the construction of roads as a separator to separate the coarse aggregates and fine aggregates. We can use them in the canals as an impermeable material or lining material. We can use them in case of erosion controls in dams and other materials. Okay? We can use it in landfill covers or landfill liners so that the wastewater or leaches will not go and join with the wells or underground water table. So these are the applications of geosynthetics. The main functions of geosynthetics are: first function is called as separation. Here these geosynthetics are used to separate the two types of materials so that they will not be mixed together. For example, coarse grained and fine grained soils, to separate them we are using the geosynthetics. So in case of pavement construction, as a subgrade bottom course we are providing larger size of particles, and above that we are providing the finer size of aggregates, and later we will be providing the surface finishings. Now when the loading is applied, there are chances that these fine grained particles are going and joining with the coarse grained particles, and hence there is chances of failure of the pavements. To avoid that, in order to prevent the mixture of coarse grained soils and fine grained soils, above the coarse grained soils we are providing a layer of geosynthetics so that they will act as a separator and they will not allow to mix these particles. Hence the stability and durability of the pavements will be increased. Fluid transmission, they will act as a permeable structures where they will allow the water to pass through these materials, whereas they will not allow the soil particles to flow through them. So that is nothing but filtration materials. They will act as a fluid transmission in case of filter material or other applications. They will act as a reinforcement when we want to improve the slopes or when we want to construct the retaining walls. We can use these geosynthetics as a reinforcement so that they will give the strength to these slopes. As I said, they can use as a filtration to filter the water. Also this geosynthetics can be used, and finally they can use as a contaminant or barriers. In case of dams, if there is a seepage under the dam, then the water from upstream side will percolate towards the downstream side, hence we cannot store the required amount of water in the dams. So we can use this geosynthetics as a barrier which will prevent the entry of water from upstream to downstream side. So these are the major functions of geosynthetics. Later in this chapter we will discuss them in detail. There are varieties of geosynthetics materials are available, and they will be used for different field applications and they are given a various different names. So let us see what are the various types of geosynthetics available. So first one, we are calling them as geospacers. You can see the figure here. Geospacers are impermeable spacers used within fine drains. Then we have geowebs, an American term for cellular geotextiles. We have geogrids. These are the geotextiles related products with large rectangular apertures or non-rectangular apertures. Then we have geosynthetics. So these are geotextiles, geomembranes, and geotextile related products, but excluding those based on natural fibers. We have geofabrics, that is planar flat sheet geotextiles and geotextile related products, excluding geotextile mats. Then we have geocomposites, that is composites consisting of two or more different products. So this is different general types of geosynthetics available in the market, and based on their applications we can involve them in various constructional applications. So we have seen the different types of geosynthetics in the previous slide. Now we will see the same types, how they are manufactured or what materials they are used to manufacture these, and based on this the different types are. First one is geotextiles. So geotextiles may be woven or maybe needle punched or maybe heat bonded or maybe chemical bonded. So these are the different techniques from which these geotextiles are manufactured, maybe woven, needle punched, heat bonded or chemical bonded. When we say about the geogrid materials are manufactured either by heat bonded or by chemical bonded or by knitting or extruded. Geonets. So geonets are manufactured either by extruded or by calendered. And finally geomembranes, they are also manufactured either by extruded or calendar. So these are the various techniques how these geosynthetics are manufactured. So what is woven, what is knitted, what is chemically bonded, heat bonded, that we will see or will discuss in the subsequent slides. So now let us discuss all these different types in details. What are these, how they are manufactured, and what are the application of this in civil engineering structures. So coming to the first one, that is called as geotextiles. So we have seen this at the beginning. These are any permeable textile used with foundation, soil, rock, earth or any other geotechnical engineering related materials as an integral part of a human made project, structure or system. So these are permeable textiles. Permeable is nothing but they will allow the water to flow through them, whereas they are used for some other purposes. They cannot be used to hold the water, or they cannot be used as a barriers which will prevent the entry of water, but they will allow the water. Based on that they can use for some other purposes. So their characteristics are they are porous having minute holes, and because of that they allow the flow of water through it. They allows the water to flow through it, and these are the most used geosynthetics in the field of civil engineering. So they are manufactured either woven or non-woven, and they are available in rolls of 5.6 meter wide and 50 to 150 meter long. So they are available in rolls. The width is 5.6 meter and length will be 50 to 150 meters, so that they cannot be used successfully for a pavement constructions. Normally when we say a two-lane road, the road width will be around 7 to 7.5 meter. In that case we can successfully apply these geotextiles over the pavement with an overlap. Also length will be around 150 to 150 meters, so that the joints can be reduced. It composed of polymers like polypropylene, high density polyethylene and polyester. These are the properties of this geotextiles, and their function is, as I've told you, they can be used as a separators. They can separate the two different particles. They will not allow them to mix. They can be used as a reinforcement. In concrete structures we are using steel as a reinforcement, whereas in case of soil we are using this geotextiles as a reinforcement, so that the stresses can be transferred. They can be used as a filtration materials. Okay. Sometimes in drains and all, we have to use some filters, otherwise there are chances that these drains will be clogged and finally they will be blocked. So to prevent that, we can use these geotextiles as an filtration materials, which will allow only the water to pass through them, whereas the soil particles are retained by this material. Even in drainage also they can be used, so that the water flows easily through these pipes. These are some of the application of geotextiles. As I've told you, these are manufactured either woven or non-woven. So let us see what is meant by woven geotextiles. So woven geotextiles are nothing but they are uniform and regular interweaving of threads or yarns in two directions. You can see the sketch here. They are uniform in nature. They are properly weaved in both the directions. Here regular visible construction pattern, some regular visible pattern, you can see it. Again their functions are soil separation, can be used as a reinforcement, can use as a load distribution barrier, can be used as a filtration and drainage. So here it have high tensile strength and relatively low strain. Okay, it is strong in tension, that's why it is having high tensile strength and relatively low strain. That's why successfully used as a reinforcement barrier. So next one is non-woven geotextiles. See here, they are formed by heat bonding, resin bonding or needle punching. They are not woven, they are non-woven, but they are manufactured by using heat bonding, pressing or resin bonding and needle punching. This technique is adopted for the manufacture of these types of geotextiles. No visible thread pattern is visible here. Okay, you cannot see the threads, you cannot see the thread patterns. Again its functions are almost same, that is soil separators, stabilizations, load distributions, but not used for reinforcement. Okay, whereas woven geotextiles are used as a reinforcement, but here these are not used as reinforcement because they are smooth and they will not transfer the load due to friction. They have high strain and stretch considerably under the loads. Okay, they have high strains and stretching, hence they can be successfully used as a load distribution materials, but not as a reinforcement materials. So when we talk about the woven is nothing but they are a large number of geosynthetics produced, which can be subdivided into several different categories based upon their method of manufacture. So they may be basically belong to natural fabrics or synthetic fabrics. Under synthetic fibers may be broadly classified as conventional geotextiles, geotextile related products and geomembranes. So woven were the first to be developed from synthetic fibers. So the synthetic fibers, the woven geotextiles were produced. The type accounts for 25% of the geotextile market in terms of volume. Okay. As their name implies, they are manufactured adopting techniques similar to weave clothing textiles. This type has a characteristic appearance of two sets of parallel threads or yarns. Already you have seen the figure where in both the directions we can see the threads or yarns. The yarn running along the length is known as warp and one perpendicular to it is called as waft. Okay, these are the two names given for this woven geosynthetics. The majority of low to medium strength woven geosynthetics are manufactured from polypropylene, which can be in the form of extruded type, split film, monofilament, or multi-filament. Often a combination of yarn types is used in warp and waft directions to optimize the performance cost. Higher permeability is obtained with monofilament than multifilament than flat tap constructions only. You can see the diagrams here where this is called as warp and this directions one is called as waft, and how you can see the definite yarn patterns here. So this is are called as woven geotextiles. Non-woven geotextiles can be manufactured from either a short staple fiber or continuous filament yarn. The fibers can be bonded together by adopting thermal, chemical, or mechanical techniques or combination of these techniques. Whether at staple fiber or at continuous fiber is used has little influence on the properties of a non-woven geosynthetics. You can see here this is called as non-woven geotextiles. Okay, there won't be any regular pattern of woven can be seen. They are manufactured either heat bonded or by knitting techniques. So next type of geotextiles are called as geogrids. They have open grid like configurations, that is they have large aperture between individual ribs. You can see here they have large rectangular openings between the ribs. They have low strain and stretch about 2% under the loads. So while stretching or while transferring of load, they are having low strain and stretch only at the 2% under the loads. Strength is more than other common geotextiles. So their functions are used extensively as reinforcements. Wherever we want to increase the strength of the soil, that is in case of embankments or in case of retaining walls where large volume of soil is filled, so these geogrids are used as a reinforcement barriers. Okay, they'll act as a reinforcement and hence they will stabilize or they will give strength to the soil slopes. It enhances the interaction between the soil and aggregates. It enhances the interaction between the soil and aggregates, act as a reinforcement and acts as a frictional barrier and hence transfer the load. Okay, that's why these geogrids are used. Geomembranes. Geomembranes are materials are relatively thin impervious sheets generally made from butyl rubber. The sale of geomembranes are greater than geotextiles. Impervious thin sheets of rubber or plastic materials primarily used for lining and cover of liquid and solid impoundments. Okay, these are called as geomembranes, can be used as a liners where it prevents the water to percolate through them. Okay, that's why these geomembranes are used. We have geosynthetics clay liners. Factory fabricated and bentonite clay in sandwiched between two geotextiles. So here between the two geotextiles a bentonite clay is sandwiched and which is called as geosynthetics clay liners. Structural integrity is obtained by needle punching. The function of these geosynthetics clay layers are can be used as an containment, as hydraulic barrier, includes thin layer of finely grounded bentonite clay. This clay swells and becomes a very effective hydraulic barrier when wetted. Hence, they are used as an clay liner in case of landfills where the leaches will not be allowed to flow into the wells or underground water table. They are manufactured by sandwiching bentonite within or layering it on the geotextile and membranes. See here the various types of geosynthetic clay liners there are, and these applications. Okay, they are spread in the construction of huge lakes or huge landfills. Geocells or geowebs, similar to geotextiles or geogrids but have depth, formed by high density polypropylene sheets. So, when opened, form honeycomb like structures, and they contain soil, gravel, and it allows water to through it, most preferably used in slopes with soft subgrade erosion control in the channels. You can see the figure where it shows properly they have some depth so that they will control the erosion of soil. So normally it is used in the slopes, hence they will prevent the erosion of slopes and protect the slopes. So next category is called as geofoams, large but extremely light material with gas filled cells. They are made from expanded polystyrene and extruded polystyrene by polymeric expansion process. Its function is separation, lightweight fill, compressible inclusions, and thermal insulations. Their applications used within the soil embankment built over soft, weak soils, used under roads, airfields, railway track systems, which are subjected to excessive freeze and thaw conditions, and used beneath on great storage tanks containing cold liquids. So they are called as geofoams. So in this video you can see how the geosynthetic clay liner are used in the creation of pond. Here in this video we can see the application of geosynthetics clay liner to protect the slopes. The slope is trimmed to the required level, made it level manually. Then the GCL is rolled over it.
Finally get that. Please do. Just so cute. Just so cute. Cute.
So, along with the woven and non-woven types of geotextiles, there is one more variety of geotextiles available. They are made from the technology called as knitted. So, these knitted geosynthetics are manufactured using another process which is adopted from the clothing textile industry, namely that of knitting. So, normally this method is adopted in the clothing industry. So, different types of cloth materials are manufactured by using this technology called as knitted. So, in this process, interlocking a series of loops of yarn together is made. Okay? Here, various yarn loops are interlocked together, and that process is called as knitting. There are different types of knit used within the clothing textile industry, but only a very few knitted types are produced. All the knitted geotextiles or geosynthetics are formed by using the knitted technique in conjunction with some other method of geosynthetic manufacture, such as weaving. So this is one of the other technology called as weaving. So you can see your figure shows the knitted fabrics, how they are manufactured. The yarns are interlocked each other so that they will give the stability to the geotextiles. So this is technology is called as knitted geotextiles. So next variety of geosynthetics are called as biodegradable geosynthetics. So normally when we use the geosynthetics, we are using it for its lifelong pattern. Okay, we assume that they will serve its full life and it will come for around 90 to 100 years life. Okay, otherwise what will happen is if they will not serve for these many years, this intention will not be served and the soil is going to be failed, and because of that there will be lots of failures due to failure of structures or failure of other buildings. All this will occur. So the main intention of every geosynthetic application is long life, apart from the function it intended to play. Okay, that's why we have to see that the materials what we are getting, they should serve this purpose. They should be durable. They should serve at least for a minimum of 90 to 100 years. In certain soil reinforcement applications, geosynthetics have to serve for more than 100 years also. Okay, some applications, for example, maybe roads, maybe bridges, dams, there these geosynthetics has to perform for more than 100 years. Okay, but this variety what we are discussing now, called as biodegradable geosynthetics, they are deliberately manufactured to have a relatively short life. Okay, they will not sustain for longer years. Okay, they are manufactured such that after few years they have to degrade with the soil. Okay, so this is generally used for prevention of soil erosion purpose until vegetation can become properly established on the ground surface. That means when they are used for the erosion of slopes, well, after a few years the vegetation will come, and because of this vegetation itself soil will be strong and the erosion will be reduced, and then there is no use of this geosynthetics and they should degrade. Okay, otherwise it will be a burden to the environment. That's why they are manufactured in such a fashion that will degrade into the atmosphere. So they are manufactured by using the natural fibers, which can be in the form of paper strips, jute nets, wood wool, coir fiber, so etc. are the things which are used to manufacture these kind of geosynthetics, and after few certain years they will degrade, and only because of the vegetation soil will get the required properties. So we have another variety of geosynthetics that is called as nets and grids. So this geosynthetic nets consist of two sets of roughly round polymer stands that cross at a constant angle to give a very open material with large diamond or rectangle shape apertures. Okay, here the aperture size will be slightly more. Okay, maybe diamond shape or maybe rectangle shape. They are called as grids or nets. When we talk about the nets with apertures of 75 mm can be used. Okay, as far as possible, biggest aperture size will be 75 millimeters. However, the typical size of the stands and the aperture is 2 mm and 7 mm respectively. Usually, the stands are partially melted and railed to produce thermal bonds when they cross. Nets are sometimes lightly stretched during manufacture to increase the elastic modulus. The strength of net varies from 2 to 10 kilonewton per meter. This is the strength of these nets. This form of geosynthetics is mainly used for low strength soil reinforcement and for core material in a fine-grained geosynthetic composites. So these are the various types of geosynthetics which are used in the construction sites. Now let us discuss what are the raw materials required to produce these geosynthetics. Okay? We'll have a rough look of this raw materials which are capable of giving the strength to the required geosynthetics. So first raw material is called as polyamide. So there are two most important types of polyamides are available. One is called as elliptic polyamide, which is obtained by the polymerization of the petroleum derivatives, that is E caprolactam. Normally all these geosynthetics are the products of petroleum. So out of this is the first one. These elliptic polyamides are composed of chains which do not contain ring shaped rigid structures. The other type is also an elliptic polyamide, It is obtained by the polymerization of a salt of adipic acid and hexamethylene and both of them are petroleum products. They are manufactured in the form of thread or tape which are cut into granules. Okay. So this is the one of the raw material which is used to produce the geosynthetics called as polyamide. The second raw material is called as polyester. Polyester, we are also called as PETP, is made by polymerizing ethylene glycol with dimethyl terephthalate or with terephthalate acid. All these three materials are derivatives of petroleum. Okay, as I've said above, material as geosynthetics are the products of petroleum. Polyester is produced discontinuously in two reactors in series or a continuous process using more reactors in series. So this is called as polyester. Next is polyethylene. Polyethylene PE can be produced in a highly crystalline form, which is an extremely important characteristic in fiber forming polymer. Three main groups of polyethylene are available. So in this category polyethylene we have three main groups and they are called as LDP, LLDP and HDP. LDP is called as low density polyethylene. The density range will be around 920 to 930 kg per meter cube. So this LDP was the first polyethylene developed, followed by HDP. LDP is produced at very high pressure, whereas HDP processes are initiated by special crystallize at relatively low pressure and temperature. Okay. So second characteristic product is called as LLDP, which is called as linear low density polyethylene. Here the density range will be 925 to 945 kg per meter cube. And the last one is called as HDP, which is called as high density polyethylene, whose density is 940 to 960 kg per meter cube. HDP is more rigid, strong, tougher and has a better chemical resistance than the low density types. However, LDP is used in applications where its flexibility and water vapor barrier properties can be utilized. When you're talking about LLDP, LLDP is the third group of polyethylene made also by a low pressure process. It is manufactured by copolymerizing ethylene with a small amount of alpha olefins, which lowers the density by forming short chain side branches on the linear polymer chain. HDP is preferred for the production of PE filaments and tapes for use in geotextiles, whereas LDP and LLDP are used more for the production of film. Polythene is available in granular or powder form. Okay. This is one more property, is a raw material for the geosynthetics called as polythene. Next we have the material called as polypropylene. Polypropylene, which is also called as PP, is a crystalline thermoplastic produced by polymerizing propylene monomers in the presence of the stereospecific catalyst system. Polypropylene is the highest plastic produced up to date. The density of this polypropylene is 900 to 910 kg per meter cube. Homopolymers and copolymers are the two types of polyethylene. Homopolymers are used for fiber and yarn applications, and polypropylene is mainly available in granular forms. Next raw material is called as polyvinyl chloride. Okay. So this polyvinyl chloride PVC is mainly used in geomembrane and as a thermoplastic coating material. The basic raw material utilized for the production of PVC is vinyl chloride. PVC is a rigid polymer material but cannot be converted when plasticizers are added into highly flexible products. This PVC is also available in free flowing powder form. So these are various raw materials used in the manufacture of geosynthetics. So along with this we have one more variety of geosynthetics. They are called as composites. So this is an area which has particularly developed in recent years. Composites can be produced from two or more of the geosynthetics, whatever we have described in the previous sections. Okay, if you mix two or three geosynthetics together, then they are called as composite geosynthetics. Also, it is possible to form composites from one or more of the geosynthetics used together with geomembrane or geospacers. Okay, we can keep some geospacers in between so that we can separate the two geosynthetics, and they are also called as geocomposites. Evidently, the composites have better properties to meet the needs of a specific application, because here we are going to get the properties of both the geosynthetics. That's why they will give us the better properties which will meet the specific applications. For example, a combination of woven and non-woven geosynthetics are used for soil reinforcement or as a separator, depending on which one is used as a prime constituent. Okay, so sometimes when we are going for woven or non-woven, we cannot use it separately as a reinforcement or separately as a separator because they have different properties. But in combination of these two, we can successfully use for some purposes. If non-woven is the backing material and woven is the prime constituent, then the woven is manufactured directly on top and then stitched to the non-woven. This can produce a composite with an aligned warp useful for soil reinforcement applications. If non-woven is a prime constituent, then the woven sheet acts as a thin, strong backing sheet to which the non-woven can be needled to produce a thick, dense material. This form of composite is useful as a separator in difficult and dynamic load conditions. Other form of composites are non-woven sheet and wave-filled core composites, non-woven and matte composites, non-woven sheet and net composites, and woven sheet and net core composites. These are various varieties of composites we can manufacture and can be successfully used in the geotechnical applications.